What up, fam? Welcome back to 88-Bit Tech. I'm AJ, and today I've got something a little different for you guys. It's not PC related, but I purchased the highest rated, most sold, cheapest gimbal, 3-axis gimbal that you can get off of AliExpress for $51 US. But is it any good? Let's find out. So here's a snapshot of all the items that came with the Axnen HQ3. First up is the it came with this light, this little clip light that you can attach to when you're recording for some extra lighting. What's cool about this is it's actually micro USB charged, so that's pretty nice, and it has 3 levels of brightness. Also came with this tripod attachment, real nifty, very easily compactable. Yeah, simple enough there. Let me level this out again. Cool. We also have a USB-C cable that they provided for charging, as well as a micro USB-C cable for the light. There's the manual. You can access this online as well. We've got this carrying pouch, and of course we have the gimbal on the right. But let's get into the video. Before I get into the test, I forgot to mention the phone that I'm going to be using. It's the Asus Zenfone 9. It's a bit of an unfair test because the Asus Zenfone 9 does have a built-in gimbal in the camera system, and the digital stabilization is also amazing. However, I can turn these features off, and I will end up turning them off for some of the 4K video testing that I'm going to do, just so we can get a better understanding of the Axnen HQ3's effectiveness with a phone that doesn't have these types of features. Without further ado, let's get into the video tests. First up, we have a walk test at 1080p, 60 frames per second, with hyper steady stabilization on my Asus Zenfone 9. So that's the highest level of stabilization I can get on the phone. Left image is me walking with my phone in hand, and the right image is installed on the gimbal. As you can see, the left is already quite stable with just the phone itself. However, the right is even more so with the gimbal. So that's a win for the HQ3. And we're moving on to the run test at the same setting. So 1080p, 60 FPS, hyper steady is on. Without the gimbal on the left, you can see that it's definitely a less smooth experience than with the gimbal installed, or with the phone installed on the gimbal on the right hand side. Definitely an improved performance there, and it's really nice to see. The 4K 60 FPS test gave us the best results for comparisons. We can't use the hypersteady setting on my phone for 4K, but we can use normal stabilization. First video has normal stabilization on without the gimbal. Second video, I turned stabilization on the phone completely off and just used the gimbal. And last has normal stabilization on with the Axnen gimbal. Regardless of the settings, it's quite clear that the Axnen HQ3 does a great job of stabilizing the footage. For the last test, we're walking at 4K 60 FPS. I think this is more of a real-world use. I'm using the gimbal in both the videos. I turned stabilization completely off on my phone on the left video, and on the right video it has normal stabilization on. For a budget 3-axis gimbal, it does an okay job of reducing the jittering from walking, but if you combine it with a smartphone stabilization, it makes it really smooth. Most phones these days have image stabilization software built into their camera apps, and this gimbal will only aid your phone's software. So a couple more notes for this Axnen HQ3. I did forget to mention that it does come, I put in my old phone, my old Samsung Galaxy S8 in here just so we can get a frame of reference, but it does also come with a Bluetooth remote control, which is nice. So this activates your camera snapshot. So you can take a picture or stop and start your video depending on what your camera is set to at the moment. Really convenient, so you don't have to touch the phone while it's on the gimbal. It also does come with, like I said, that light, which I'm currently using now. Downside is that light has very little capacity. It's only been on for like I don't know, a couple of minutes, and it's already needs to be recharged. So it's very bright and it'll work in short bursts, but you better not have to do retakes or else it just won't last. So it has to be recharged already. That's a con. And then as far as the phone goes here, right now it has 4 settings. I don't know if you can see that. It has 4 settings on the gimbal. There's pan follow, horizontal lock, first person view, and then full lock. And in the manual it does explain that. So let's go into a description with each one there. You can pause and take a look at that. I wonder if you can see it. So pan follow, the tilt axis and the roll axis keep the same direction and the lens rotates with the camera. So, or with the handle. So right now, yeah, tilt and axis remain the same. Stay the same direction, so even when I go down like that, it just doesn't move. It just follows with the horizontal. Now with HL, so horizontal lock, the roll axis remains horizontal. So if I try to rotate it here, it won't roll, it just stays the same. However, it should, if I tilt it, yeah, it follows me. Yeah, so it won't tilt on horizontal lock. And then first person view, it's the next mode. That's what I record all the videos on the bridge at. It's first person view. The lens follows the projection direction of the handle to simulate first person visual effect. Yeah, so it basically just follows the handle. Whichever way I turn, rotate, the camera follows with the handle. And then there's full lock mode, so I have to be in PF or HL mode to activate that. So if I hold the trigger, it goes into full lock mode. So now whichever angle I go, however I rotate the handle or move the gimbal, the phone just stays in the same orientation. There is also a manual control here. So if you can see here, you can rotate, you can tilt, and you can do that for all the settings. On first person view, it rotates it on the roll axis there. If you want to change whether or not you're shooting vertically or horizontally, you just hit the mode button twice. Yeah, and it shifts it. And let's say you do a manual kind of adjustment, right? You're manually controlling it, you change the tilt, and then you messed up and you want it to go back to normal. If you double click the trigger on the back, it will reset it back to the center. It is USB-C charging, which is really nice. So it should charge pretty quickly. It doesn't give me a time, but I've charged it once and I haven't had to recharge it yet. I'll update it later, maybe in the description when I do have a full recharge time. I'll do a walk around Sydney, and just so we can get a full day use and just see how long the battery lasts. It comes with a 2200 milliamp battery. So some pros and cons. Pro, it's $51 US. So it's, for the price I paid, I'm pretty happy with what I'm getting out of it. And there are some features that are missing that I wish it had. There's no Bluetooth functionality or connectivity with the gimbal itself, so you just have to rely on your phone, which can be a pro and a con. So pro, a lot of other gimbals out there, you have to use the Gimbals app, and sometimes that is very limiting. For example, my Asus Zenfone 9 has exceptional image stabilization, so I would like to use that in conjunction with the gimbal. However, that's obviously through the phone's app. If the Gimbals app doesn't allow me to use that, then I won't be able to use it. So it really worked out well for my particular phone. But the downside is, since it doesn't have an app that we can connect to, there's no tracking function. So let's say I'm doing a video, or if I want to do like a B-roll and lock the gimbal to a specific item or target, I will have to do it manually. It won't lock onto anything because it just doesn't have that software, unfortunately. There is a version of the Axnen, they do make a version that does have an AI lock that will track, which is cool, but I think that one's a bit more expensive. I personally got this to do B-rolls, like a track video of items that I'm reviewing, and I'll post a video. I've done one manually here. I had to do it manually because, like I said, there was no option, and it came out okay. I probably have to play around with it to be a bit better, but it's not super great. There's still quite a bit of jittering as I go through. It's not as smooth as I'd like it, but like I said, maybe I just have to play with it more. But for $51, I think it's acceptable for what I paid for it. I'm not upset at what I've got. Now, would I recommend this to you? I don't know. It really kind of just depends on what you're after. We'll do some more videos, but I think with the results of the videos that I have posted, it does a really good job of making the videos more stable. So in the future, when I do some walking tours of Sydney and my areas, I think it'll do a really great job. Then especially with just me using the image stabilization on my phone. So yeah, cheapest, most sold, highest reviewed gimbal on AliExpress, the Axnen HQ3, gets a thumbs up from me. If you guys have any questions about this specific one, please post it in the comments and I'll try to answer them. I'm still playing around with it myself. It's 3 times less the cost of the budget gimbals that you can get in the States, like the DJI Osmo. I think there's a mobile version, and that one's like $150. So to pay a fraction of that cost and still get this much capability out of a gimbal is pretty good. If you guys got any more questions, please let me know. If you like the video, please like the video. If you want to see more of what I have coming out in the future, please feel free to subscribe by clicking on my face. That's somewhere over here. And I've got some other videos you want to check out. Please feel free to go ahead and click on those videos as well. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I look forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace. I'm going to stop the video with this remote.